out with my eye primer, I'm using actually a concealer. This is Tarte's Shape Tape, and I'm buffing that in with a Real Techniques brush. I really like this concealer as an eyeshadow base because it conceals the lids nicely, and it also hides the dryness that I get on my eyelids sometimes. Moving into eyeshadow, I'm using the bareMinerals Holiday Palette. It's called the Hidden Treasures. Still really hard for me to say, but I'm taking the shade called Ecru and using that as a base. And then I'm taking the color called Payday and using that in my outer corner. It's just a really light pewter color, almost has a bit of green in it. And then I'm moving into my shadow liner. And so I mixed the two colors called Priceless and VIP, and I'm basically just buffing that along my lower lash line and creating a gradient effect in between my lid and my lash line because I decided I wanted to do a little bit of a flick on the end, a little bit of a wing liner, and so I wanted this to just be really soft. And I'm going to go in with the eyeliner later on and kind of deepen this up a bit. So then I just took my Real Techniques angled liner brush and I just created the tail of the wing. Here again, really easy. You just have to figure out your eye shape to figure out what the best type of wing is. If you need to do a wing that's more straight out or further up, just play around with it and you'll kind of see which wing works best for you. I think the best looks on me, or the best look for me, is a little bit more of a straight wing. Then I'm taking the shade called Santorini, and this is a really unique color. It's almost like a pale gold with a touch of green mixed into it. And so I just wanted a touch of a metallic finish to the eyes, and so I chose this color because I knew it would be really subtle, and I just applied that with a flat brush and then moved into the eyeliner. So I'm using Urban Decay's 24/7 Glide On Liner. This color is in or the name is called Loaded, and it's a really gorgeous green. It has a bit of a metallic finish to it, and I just went in and applied that over the shadow liner, and I love the way it looked. I based it off of the sweater I was wearing. I think it matched my sweater really nicely that day, so that's how I chose that color. I normally don't match my makeup to my outfit colors, but I don't know, I just thought this would be a fun way to incorporate just a little bit of color into the look. So same thing on the other eye. I just went over the shadow liner and made the wing liner a little bit more bold and a little bit more of a standout where you could actually see the color. For lashes, I'm using Ardell's Faux Mink lashes. I'll have to put the number down below. I totally forgot what it was. I've had these kind of just sitting around on my desk for a while, but I really do enjoy this style. They're very dramatic, but they don't look over the top. You know what I mean? Like, they give the drama, but they don't overwhelm your eye or your eyelid. So really do enjoy the Faux Mink line from Ardell. So moving into my primer, I'm using the Kevyn Aucoin Sensual Skin Primer. Haven't used this in a while. Thought I'd pull it out. And then for my foundation, I'm using the Lorac Sheer Porefection foundation. Wow, that's really hard for me to say. And I'm applying that with my hands first. I've really been enjoying applying foundation with my hands recently, probably because I've been wearing MAC Face and Body a lot. But I just apply it with my hands first, and then after I had everything kind of blended in, I went in with a foundation brush, and I use the Smashbox blurring foundation brush. And I love this. It's very precise. It's easy to buff with. And I don't know, I really love this application method by using the hands first and then kind of just going in and blending out any type of like precise area. You get what I mean? Moving into concealer, I've been enjoying mixing Urban Decay Naked Skin with Nars Radiant Creamy. And I'm just applying that with my fingers and then blending that out with a beauty blender. This beauty blender was actually dry. That's how I've been blending out my concealer recently. I find that on my skin, since I have freckles, if I damp my beauty blender too much, it takes away the coverage, and you can see my concealer or my freckles coming through. So yeah, I've been using a dry beauty blender for concealer. Who would have thought? And then for powder, I use Lorac's Porefection powder in the shade Light, and just lightly dusted that all over the skin. And then I went in with another holiday collection item. This is one of bareMinerals holiday face palettes. I think, let me see what the name is. The bareMinerals Dimensional Powder. They didn't send a box with this, so I don't really know what the actual name is, but that's what the product is called inside. And I'm using the bronzer first, and I'm just using this to add a little bit of contour to the face. I'm not really sure how I feel about this face palette. It just didn't really seem to perform well on my skin. The bronzer was slightly patchy, and nothing really stood out to me in this palette. So I used the blush. I think it was called Galaxy. And honestly, it reminds me a lot of bareMinerals Golden Gate, but I had never really played around with these formulas. I used the highlighters, and honestly, I felt like they were a waste of time. Now, if you like a really subtle highlight, then you may like this, but I just thought to myself, wow, there was almost no point in putting this on because you could barely see it. So that's why I went in with the Becca palette. This is their holiday palette, and I just used the white color and the shade that's very similar to Champagne Pop. By the way, that palette is like basically Chrissy Teigen's palette and Jaclyn Hill's palette mixed into one. So if you missed out on those, then, you know, there's another opportunity. For my facial mist, I use Max Fix Plus, and then I took a liner that was very similar to the one I used on the top lid and use this in my lower lash line. It just doesn't have any shimmer in it. It's a matte liner. I wanted to add a little bit more definition to the lower lash line because with the lashes being so dramatic, it kind of makes the look top heavy, so I wanted to even that out and add a little bit more color to the lower lash line. And then I took the same two colors I used for my shadow liner, Priceless and VIP, and I just buffed that along my lower lash line again to intensify it and to make it look a bit more smoky. I added Makeup Forever Excessive Lash, and then I moved into lips. So I'm using Charlotte Tilbury's Lip Cheat and a Nars Lip Gloss I got when I was in New York back last February. I got it at their boutique, kind of as like a souvenir. I'd never been to the freestanding Nars store. And it's called Baby Doll. So it's a color that I would not normally use, but I don't know, I kind of like the way it looked with this look. I just lightly line my lips with Pillow Talk and then just fill it in with the lip gloss. And so it's a really metallic baby pink, and I don't normally wear pink in general, but I don't know, I kind of liked how soft and delicate it played off the eye look. And when I showed you guys a picture on my Instagram, I got a lot of requests to feature the shadow palette and also just the look in general. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions for me, feel free to leave them down below, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye.